Okay. Oh wait, I'm gonna turn that off. Okay, boop. Okay, go to here, unpublish after it ends. That off. And then, okay, let's make sure it's working on YouTube as well. Okay, and go to here, unpublish after it ends. Yeah, that's working there. And then here, YouTube is working. Okay, let's get that off. Okay, cool. Okay, so close there, and then close that. Go to the page. And then, cool. Make sure this is all working here. Okay, cool. So that's working. All right. Not here, but there's this other studio that I work at that is nearby where you know, I rock with the sub. But I use a sub pack.
That's just baller, dude. I haven't used that one. I have the one that's got the wires.
Oh, the chair?
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they're awesome.
They're awesome.
Really makes a big difference. Okay, cool. So here, I think like, I mean, let's okay, here, let's see how we're going on here, because I think it might be a good idea to take you around some of my project files.
Yeah, man. I'd appreciate that.
So I'm gonna go into my track folders here, but like here, I'll show you. Okay, so I'll show you kind of the different stages of the track. Okay, so
awesome.
Sort these by date. Okay, so Cthulhu is a pretty fucking crazy track. Okay, so here's, and probably some of the shit is gonna be, actually here, let's angle like that so they can hear your questions a bit better and stuff too. But yeah, some of this shit's probably not gonna load right, just because it's, I made this a while ago. But, whoa, why does Ableton need to know my password? It's a bit funny. It's probably some kind of permissions problem somewhere. Okay. Oh boy. So yeah, like I said, some of this stuff is not gonna fucking work. Yeah, so skip missing. Oh jeez. Oh man.
It's like the worst thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is again one of many reasons why it's a good idea to just be flattening things down to audio all the time. Making new audio files. Okay, so you can see here, this is like, you know, pretty much what was going on was making just like an intro to a drop, right? There's a bunch of these contact instruments here that are missing samples. I've moved my native instruments libraries on that orange hard drive, but yeah, but I had like since I got my new sound card, I'm one Thunderbolt port short, so I was trying to anyway. Yeah, but yeah, so this track, you know, we made this intro where it's just trying all these different instruments and stuff, and really just getting a vibe going, getting a build up going, and then into a drop. And this is, let's see what it. It's not loading properly, but basically it's an intro to a drop. And the track started in this case with training my friend to speak backwards, so that he was like saying all these numbers and stuff backwards, and then we would flip the backwards talking backwards, and we made this count.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
So we just kind of like, that was the starting point, where it was like, it's Halloween, and we had like stupid masks on, and we're like, okay, this is gonna be like a Halloween track. That's the vibe, you know. So we just started doing stupid shit, counting backwards, etc. Getting a bunch of spooky Halloween sounds. People were sending us tracks, their samples on the forum and stuff, like on the live stream, and you can watch the live stream for this whole thing. And then we, jammed, made a beat, started cutting shit up. There's like, what's this? Some like weird, there's a bunch of different weird sounds that we got. So that was just like, we made a brief orchestral thing here and then sampled it and then just put so much distortion. But this kind of goes back to what I was saying about like, having to make sounds that are not presets, that are really like, they have a very strong identity and a strong character to them, and that are just going to be unusual in some way, right? So that was Mr. Bill made this, this like brief orchestral arrangement, and rendered it all down to one file with just like shit tons of distortion, and then just like smashed it with a multiband. So it's like, like all those edits, they're not like on the grid or anything. Like this shit's fucking chaotic, right? So getting some of those sounds, some of the weird backwards counting, etc. And then like, like gore yogurt. What the fuck was this gore yogurt? Yeah, so like weird. We just like went out and like looked shit up. It's fucking crazy Halloween.
There's a lot going on here, a lot of cutting up. How much time did this take you?
This took a while. I don't know. I guess this is maybe like 5 or 6 hours in. Okay. But yeah, so we're just really trying to get a vibe going, etc. And then from there, right? What did you see how it was all pixely and then it came together? That was weird.
The computer's tripping out, man.
Yeah, I know. I think it's cursed, this computer. Okay, so then, we went from, let's go into here, and then go date modified. So then, yeah, from here, that, like, Halloween thing progressed into, like, this. And this was, I guess, the end of the first kind of major session or whatever.
So you'd call this phase 1?
Well, this was just our main day of writing. I mean, this thing's pretty much, it was, a lot of the personality was there, but the arrangement I don't think was quite there yet. But this was basically just the end of the I think it was like 2 back-to-back days that got it to this point. Okay, hopefully it doesn't freak out too bad. But yeah, you can see like this is all, pretty disorganized at this point, We're just adding shit. Like this would have been phase 1, I guess. Okay, skip missing. Yeah, I mean, those samples are on that other hard drive, but we'd have to lose a monitor. And I kind of like another monitor right now. Yeah, it's one thing that is a bit annoying about this sound card is there's only one Thunderbolt port. So you can't daisy chain anymore, so that has to be the end of the chain.
What?
And then the monitor also has to be the end of the chain because there's no second Thunderbolt port out of that. So where do I put my Thunderbolt hard drive? It's like, thanks guys.
Yeah, dude, they're making it more and more possible to come up with ways to make it work.
Yeah. Okay, so, and the dongle book, don't even get me started on the dongle book. I don't think I'm going to buy another Mac laptop. I think I'm probably just going to like...
You can make a sick computer for way less, and it'll have everything, and you won't have to have a dongle. It'll all be in one piece. Like, literally, you can create a laptop with over 2 terabytes of SSD space.
It's amazing. Yeah, PC you can crush. Because, I mean, I'm not using this thing on stage anymore because it's so unstable, so it's kind of like, if it's unstable in the studio, too, why even, But yeah, I don't think I'm going to buy another Mac laptop, man. I've been betrayed. Okay, so, wow, this is taking a long time. Come on now. Okay, so this would have been before trimming it down. But you can see here, like, it's taking a long time to load this. the processor's up a lot. This is like phase 2, you know, here, and this has not been taken to phase 3 yet at all. So the processor is way too used. There's just way too much going on. But you can see here now the intro is a little bit more defined. There's arrangement. There's extra sections. There's sections labeled up at the top, you know, and you can see, like, you know, it's been a lot more finished, but it's still, that's crushing the processor, right? So this would be like phase 2. It's this weird feedback delay kind of thing happening. I'm really wondering. You hear that? Like there's like some kind of a
solid compressor.
It's like a delay. Like it feels like there's a feedback loop somewhere. It's fucking shit up. Maybe it's in the console application or something. Anyway, so then, like, you know, that would be basically phase 2.
Okay.
And then here, you know, this is ending towards phase 2, phase 2, and then you get to here, and this is what the project looks like when it's done.
And these are all rendered to audio already.
Yeah, everything's.
And you've grouped them into the ways you wanted them to be rendered.
Yeah, because right now this is way too many channels.
So say you
way
got
too
these
much processor
100
use.
channels. Before you send it to audio, do you group them in the way you want them? So
yeah, you group them the way you want them. You can either put them into groups. You can select them all and hit solo and then render, just making sure that you don't have anything on the master.
Right.
But yeah, often I'll just like actually solo everything and then do it. But doing it, or you can put them all through a send and then render the send.
Right.
That is sometimes easier.
Yeah, so it does take a while though, because you'd have to fucking do that 16 times or whatever.
Yeah, it takes a while to render them all.
But it's worth it because at the end the quality of the sound is better, and then you don't have the delays that you're worried about before, right?
Yeah, you don't get, because
what it is what it is.
Yeah, like you'll see once this opens, and this was the track like finished. You'll see there's like so many fewer channels. Everything is just audio.
Yeah.
Like that. Look at it, it's tidy, you know.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then these are different renders like of the thing, but you can see. Oh, hey, what am I missing here?
Off?
Oh yeah, that's not the big. Yeah, these ones I just recorded into these tracks, but yeah, so you can see now it's like. Oh wait, why is this? Something is muted for some reason. So maybe they crossfit. I must have done something funny here. Oh, okay. These are. That's right. I did this at an analog studio, so these are all running out separate outputs. That's why they're grayed out. So these are all running out to an analog mixer, and then I recorded it. But that's why that's there. And then this is. The analog summed master for the track, which is what? Oh, that's. Is this also not? The fuck? Yeah, this is anyway. This is routing. So I did all this routing. Why is that? Okay, so that's going to the master. Oh, the master's going to 3/4. Yeah. And then I did a few different versions of it to see. Oh yeah, here we go. So it's that's what was happening. I was A/Bing between the outboard mix and then this is in the box. Right, so it's two slightly different versions of the mix.
Right.
And then from there, all right, once I got that done, then there was this mastering version mastering one, which was here. So I summed it and then mastered it. So I rendered it down to phase 3, did all my little edits and like glitches and everything with my whole processor for you. You can see the processor's like way lower. It's like 10% there. So everything's running smooth in that version of the project. And then we get here, and then this is the master, and I ran a few, you know, I had a few different renders that I was running through different mastering chains until
Rising from the
hear that low bass note on these speakers, but yeah, so I rendered it.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's like a D, so I don't
low.
always put tracks in D because you can't hear them elsewhere. But this track sounds fucking crazy. But yeah, so that's that, and that's like, this is probably the most complicated project I've done in the last like fucking couple years.
To connect the dots, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah, so that's how like the typical thing will flow.
How the
so
process
now,
goes.
but well, that's if you're going crazy, right? So then check out like flying, for example, is much more simple. Actually, I don't know if I have that project here. Let's do let's do this one. Okay, so this one started from a remix that I did. This is a remix that I've been working on for missing the hard drive. Right, never mind. Let's, I think Kung Fu is a self-contained project. Let's look at that. Okay, so here we are. So this is Kung Fu. Start this one. So this was a remix that I did for Apache. I finally found out how to pronounce it. It's pronounced Apache. So now I know. A lot of people say Apache, but it's like with a SH, so it's Apache. Or Apache if you're French, like he is.
So what's this for?
That's the mixer that does the mic and then the output of this for the streaming. So this is that computer, and all this stuff is this computer.
Gotcha.
Okay, so basically here, you know, I just kind of like loaded in stems from the original track. So it's almost like starting from phase 3. And then, oh fuck, what files are missing on this one? Oh, annoying. I really need to figure out how to get that hard drive plugged in. Okay, so this was the stems from the other track, and then I just kind of jammed over it until I made this new drop. So here I was like, you know, trying these different chord pieces, etc. I knew I wanted something to do with those chords, but you know, I wanted it to be a little different. And then I was like, oh, you know, what else am I gonna add? Blah blah blah. You know, made this breakdown, and then later from there, that kind of evolved into here. So a lot of the projects too, like a lot of the saves at the end, you'll have like a ton of different, very slightly different ones while you're like trying different mix down options, or like you'll do something and then go out to a gig and then come back and change like one little thing. So most of the big changes happen in the earlier versions, right? But then this was like towards the end of the project, right? So I jammed here, I'd made a drop, an intro to a drop. Like basically phase 1, you got intro, A, B, outro. Those are the 4 sections that you need to come up with. Hopefully I'm not missing too many files. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you got intro, A, B, and outro, and then sent the phase 1 off to a vocalist who gave me some raps and stuff. This guy Mayor Apeshit I work with a lot. He's really good. But I sent some vocals off to him. So then this is a mixed version of the vocal, right? So I sent vocals off to him, and then basically cut together all these different vocals and stuff, and then really refined everything until I got this is still 54 channels, so that's a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Enter the gates. When Chung Shaolin Wushu, what the fuck you gonna do? Coming for you with the kung fu.
Right? So then that was with pretty much everything flattened, but like not quite there. And then here is this summing one, where I was basically running it out through the big analog mixer at the big studio. Yeah, they don't have internet at the big studio, so I don't do any streaming from there, but it's it's really nice. Okay, so then see here, same thing, but broken down back into stems for phase 3. And then it was run through all the outboard to generate the final sum, right? And then from there, often I'll do like another project for the mastering. So then there's this master one. So there's a summing project and then a master project. Right, because phase 3, like the first part of phase 3, you're fixing all your transitions, cutting off all the unnecessary reverb tails and shit, tightening up the way the drum timing is, like all those things, they get a little wonky during the process. So finish all that, and then the second half of phase 3 is like summing it and like, putting all your nicest plugins and getting the mix like perfect,
So essentially, would you skip a step if you're doing it all in the box?
No, because you still do.
summing in
Yeah,
a separate file.
well, you still want to have, like phase 3 is often just a separate project where there's no plugins. So you want to get to the point where everything sounds the way it should with no plugins, and then from there you do like your mix down.
Got you.
Yeah. So then here, then this is the recording of all the tracks going through outboard equipment and through the mixer and everything to get like a really nice version, and then often you A/B with the crossfader to test between different versions, because sometimes it's hard to tell. And what I like to do is put it on, see right now it's on the comma key, and then I'll go tick, 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 until I lose track, close my eyes, and then A/B until I lose track of which is which, and then try and tell which is better with my eyes closed. And then, because you won't know which one you're even hearing, and then you can really tell if it's objectively better, because a lot of time your eyes will like fool you and stuff, especially if you've been listening to it again and again and again.
Smart.
So then this was like 2 different mix downs, And then running through like my mastering chain and stuff here. And I had it like going through some tape emulation here, which really made a big difference. Like,
Enter the gate.
I'll put the mastering shit back on, so you'll be able to hear it more.
Enter the gates. Chung Shaolin Wushu.
Check this out with the tape emulation.
With the kung fu.
No.
With the kung fu.
See the way it just makes everything sound more 3D.
With the kung fu.
It sounds more physical somehow.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, so it's like, just A/Bing, and like this stage takes a while. Usually, like you're testing all these different, and because you gotta like, you do this, and then you go out to a gig or some other system and test it, and then come back and make a couple little tweaks, and then go test it, and come back and make a couple little tweaks. So phase 3 can be a real game of inches. Like, it can take a long time. Phase 1 is normally really fast and fun. Phase 2, you hate yourself at some point. And then phase 3 is just like these little fucking little subtle things. But
it makes the difference, though.
yeah, it makes the difference. And if you try to do everything, like here, I'm running so much shit that just that is doing like 20% of my
And
process.
these are all USB ports.
Yeah.
With the kung fu.
Sick.
Right? And then I rendered it with all this mastering shit off and sent it to the mastering engineer. So like, this is just my mastering to get it playable, but the actual final master is, I think, better than my master. But yeah, so that's what the whole process looks like. But if you're not doing phase 3, you're missing out on like a lot. You know, like a lot of what makes a track sound fucking done happens in phase 3, and then also like a lot of the creative stuff can happen in phase 3 too. Like, I'll sometimes go to phase 3 and then basically remix the track again and then go back to phase 3 again, you know, because it's just like so nice to have all of your processor and be able to do all those audio editing tricks and stuff. Like, because there's plugins that make shit go backwards and fucking glitch things out and stuff, but they always use so much processor, and they kind of like, they're just like, it just doesn't sound as good as just fucking hard edits, you know?
But let me tell you something. What if you had a computer powerful enough?
It's still clumsy. It's like a clumsy way to do it. Like, all those glitch plugins and stuff, they're cool if you want to just like put something through it and like hit random and sample it.
Right.
But there's no substitute for audio editing. Like, audio editing is just a much cleaner, more versatile, less processor intensive, etc. And it just comes out better if you do it like with actual audio editing. But yeah, so then like, and then sometimes, like, let's see if I have the project for this one. Yeah, so like sometimes too, like this is pretty fun. Like, I was working on this track with Mitch Brady. He's actually another Class of 808 member, and you know, I was like, this shit sounds cool, right? Like it had this drop that but I really wanted to make the second drop dope, right? So I went in and literally cut up the fucking mix down. There's something about just like hard edits that just sounds awesome.
It's tight.
Yeah, so, you know, phase 3, like learning about how to do all these audio editing tricks and how to, you know, how to really you know, how to take your track to phase 3 is one of the things that I think you definitely
to go from here to here.
Yeah, big time. So I'd say like for your tracks, like really exploring diversity of melodies. You know, when you're trying to get your melodies to stand out with each other, keeping your melodies to a pentatonic scale with the emphasis on the 4, 5, and 6. So pentatonic scale 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. No 7, no 2. Okay. And that's going to make the root note sound amazing because there's nothing close to it.
Right.
Because the 7 and the 2, they make the root note sound bad. Right? But 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're all going to sound good with the root note. And they're kind of far apart enough from each other that you can hit any combination of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, and it's going to sound good.
Right.
Right? So if you just avoid the 2 and the 7 when you're making your melodies, and try to avoid the 1 a little bit. So it's pretty much just 4, 5, and 6 mostly.
So then, to use that analogy for the drop, I guess, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around understanding how it's not a melody, you know, like the bass.
Yeah.
How would you approach that And writing like a bass line for a fucking
You know, I
drop.
think we could. I think we should probably go and just like listen to a bunch of different,
And just
a bunch of different tracks, and we can kind of talk about how different
would be
drops are
cool.
working. But
That makes sense.
I mean, I guess we've listened to enough of my music that it's kind of. I'm gonna have to fight copyright anyway. It's so annoying. I basically, if I'm quick enough and I download them all, right away, I can sometimes pull them off for the club before the copyright thing comes in. But yeah, it's really annoying.
They're that fast, huh?
Yeah, they're pretty fast. Okay, so here's see here. I'll show you. Okay, new drums back in the kit. Yeah, I think this will be good. So this is another recent track that I did. It's a remix of a theme from Ghost in the Shell. I really love the score from the original anime.
Mm-hmm.
So I remixed like the vocals from the original anime. I was gonna put it out when the movie came out, but the movie, like, people hated the movie anyway. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna keep it as a VIP for my live sets. So I mean, I might release it at some point. I don't know, but it works great in the live sets, and it's like it's nice to have some shit that's unreleased.
You showed me a sick one when we were at the Dave Miller synthesizer lab.
Yeah, Dave Smith.
Dave Smith.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was. I think he called it Bali something.
Oh yeah. That one I changed the title. Yeah, I think I showed you that one here too.
The drop is sick, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I can show you that one. I think I changed the title to Krakatoa, because it's like a fucking volcano in Indonesia. Because just calling it like Bali dub, I thought was a bit generic. But yeah, so this is just opening. So one thing that I find really, and I mean, you saw when I loaded up that modular sound pack, how
Right.
nice it was to just have the sound design be happening in
It's
the
already
drum
done,
rack,
right?
and you can basically just rhythmically rearrange.
So that's what I'll watch that
What's-
that weekly.
Well, yeah, watch the weekly download where I make the modular sound pack and then just like load it up and check it out. But it's like a full 64 pads.
But it's actually creating those fucking already preset bass notes that make it so powerful.
Yeah, and those are all from like here, from my modular, you know. So those are like proper hardware bass sounds, you know. Cause yeah, hardware, man, just I hate to say it, but it just fucking it has a sound, you know, that you just. It's really hard to get to emulate. And I mean, even the soft synths that sound the best, like Omnisphere sounds sick because it's samples, you know, it's samples of hardware driving the engine of the thing, you know. But yeah, hardware, there's something about like actual circuits that we just don't quite understand how to model. And even all the stuff that the UAD stuff is like a clone of, it's not quite
digital?
It's not quite there. Like if you actually, because like the big studio, Ryan has like an 1176 and a Manly Massive Passive and like the SSL G compressor and all the stuff that the UAD stuff is copies of. So I've like sat there like A-Bing with the
And it
outboard
sounds
mix,
better.
and it's just
Night and day.
yeah, night and day pretty
Damn.
much. Even with UAD, and they spend like fucking so much money trying to emulate it exactly. Okay, so here, check it out. So we got a drum kit here. Okay, what files am I missing? Okay, yeah, nothing too bad. Okay, so I'd have a couple of these things that make the kit, you know. But like I said, you know, the 3 drum rack method is the shit. So basically, this is drum rack 1, which is the meat, right? And then here, like for the potatoes, we have some of these samples. Right? And then this will be the spice, these two. And these are designed to like, you know, really
Throw
catch
you
your
off.
attention and make the drum kit sound different. So that would be like the spice. So here, I'll take. So these are the 3, and this has been elaborated. Like when I started sequencing it, it was not so many channels.
Right.
But usually I'll have 1 channel for the meat, 1 channel for potatoes, 1 channel for spice. So this is meat here. Right, these 3 potatoes. And that's just to give a bit more texture and movement. Right. And then the spice is this. right? So it's all like super crazy. So then together,
Yeah, it's crazy 'cause when you break it up into that analogy, it makes sense. But when you listen to it all at once, it's like, fuck, there's so much shit going on.
and it really does make it sound full. So yeah, so you want to basically get it to the point where it sounds like a, fairly full. Just the rhythm section should sound like a record, right? So let's take. I'll show you just the rhythm section. Would be like this, plus this, plus here's some pieces of the movie. So this, whoa, just had a little freak out. This is the end of phase 2. You always end up in processor trouble at the end of phase 2. So a lot of these ones that are at the end of phase 2. That's why. But yeah, so that would be just the end of that. But here, what's actually driving the drop is this. Pitch this note. Yeah. Yeah, it's just audio editing. Wow.
How much of like bass music do you think uses this technique?
Where you're making the bass lines with audio editing and stuff? Oh, a lot of it. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it's not really like a melody.
I've always tried creating melodies and then using all these fucking different patches that I made and layering them and.
Yeah, bass lines, they don't really sound that great when they're super melodic. Like a lot of the time, like it depends on what recipe you're doing. Like if you're doing the preset shredding recipe, you come up with like a really simple melody and then just run it through a bunch of different voices. Like in that Bass Nectar example, where it's like he's made a bass line, but it's like here it is with this patch, here it is with this patch, here it is with chords, here it is without chords, here it is just sub, here it is like that. That's what's known as preset shredding, where you basically
you make all the 6 presets and then you can just run it through.
Yeah, you run it through. But unless you're making a bass line that's like a melodic bass line, right? Like this shit is just driving bass, So then come like in here and be like.
What was that thing in the breakdown? You had it going.
Oh, there's like that was me playing the guitar actually.
Oh, okay.
Playing Nunix's pink guitar that she never practiced. You're like, maybe borrow this pink guitar that I just played it. So this is like record. So that's just edits of guitar.
Wow.
Right, and then there's a lot of these little bits here. It's like a couple little bits and bobs in the build-up. But that loop there from 7 to breakdown, that was pretty much the super loop in phase 1. And then I copied it out, labeled all the sections, made little change-ups, made all the transitions, and then render it down to stems to get to phase 3. And then over here to this, where is it? Track folders. Ghost in the shell, and then yeah, I get here to the master, or actually I think this one is the mix down, but this one again I think I did the mix down for this on the at the hardware studio, so it might not load properly because it's all sending out to 1 million channels. But yeah, you know what I should do? I should do this just like VIP download for club members. That'll be fun.
So you, on your night sessions, you'll just fucking come out here and just fucking go crazy on this, record 6 sounds.
Yeah.
Throw them in your folder, get them all prepped and ready, and put them in that modular pack, and then you'll have them ready for whenever you're.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, just making all these different presets and stuff in my library and sound packs and things. But yeah, so here you can see it's like. Actually, this is, yeah, you can't really hear it properly, but basically that all summed to this. You know, and then this was the mix down. Right, and you can see here, like you see how there's like little peaks and stuff. Like this is not limited and compressed. But then record the output of that, and then go to here, which is the master. And then this is where I would like get it ready to play. In this case, I didn't send it off to external mastering, like I did the master myself. But you know, once again, got a couple different versions, and
pick the best one.
Yeah, pick the best one. Here, you can see it's all been limited and shit. You don't want to go past -6, but that's like going from 0 to -6. Big difference between that and phase 2, you know, and that's really like that shit, like phase 3, like just nailing everything down in phase 3 is really where you get it like tight, you know, and like a lot of the time your phase 2 will be kind of a mess until you get to phase 3 and clean everything up. But yeah, so your tracks definitely need phase 3 as well as, you know, like mastering and stuff. Even if you're just putting a limiter, it's like nice to have it as a separate stage, right, where you can adjust it independently of the mix. And then, you know, getting that folder of just fucking weird sounds, like getting your phone where you're just going around getting crazy sounds from the world, collecting sounds from movies, making instruments that are fucked up, you know, like that, just like, because it's kind of like if you're just using like Vengeance samples and Serum, it's gonna sound like Vengeance samples and Serum, you know.
And everybody else is already doing that anyway.
Exactly. Like it kind of doesn't matter how good you are with Vengeance samples and Serum, it's gonna have that sound, unless you're like, you know, making field recordings using weird shit that, you know, that you've collected, just finding unusual stuff. I mean, but I mean, there's a lot of good, like, really good iPhone apps even, like, that you can get stuff with. Like the Moog has like a modular app that is so fucking cool that that you can use. And then there's this, like, on this guy, I use this guy all the time. Let's just see. Hey, come on. iPad. Okay, so yeah, I'll use this guy all the time. The music apps. Ohm. It's really cool. And you can basically specify a routing. You can do this on your phone or on your iPad, but you specify a routing that's like this app goes to here, and then you hit record and record, and then you can record samples from whatever app you're using, and then fucking upload them to your Dropbox.
Oh shit.
So then you get like digital perfect copies of everything, right? And then there's a lot of apps like this Moog fucking modular. It's like $30, and it's like a copy of a synthesizer that was like $30,000.
They don't have a VST version of this?
No, there's no VST version. And you can record and stuff in the app. It's like really cool. So I mean, I'll make modular sounds in here, or there's this other one too, Zmor's modular. Like some of the presets for it are fucking just crazy. Like.
So where would you record though? You're recording in the individual apps, like that Moog has an app.
Yeah, and here this one has a recording thing. You just get crazy noises, and having like lots of big. You know, there's like different. You could pick your scale here, you know, and then just be like recording. You just record like nutted out noises, right? So there's a lot of apps that are pretty cheap that you can just record a bunch of nutted out noises and fucking copy them over with Dropbox, you know. So I'll do sound design on the plane, you know, or wherever really. And if you have like, I mean, you got one of the big iPhones, so you could do it there.
Right.
But really just have that folder where you have like really vivid, unusual sounds that are like maybe a little bit processed, maybe a little bit tweaked while you're making them. Because like making a patch is one thing, but making like a recording is another.
Right.
And when you start with recordings and you have these long recordings and like, let's say here, like in this weekly download modular pack, right? You can see that I basically did that process that we were doing with the glass samples in the drum rack.
Right.
And each one of these drum cells is like a fucking 5-minute recording, and I'm just like scrubbing with the playhead to find the sweet spots, make like a little family row of like 4 of them. But yeah, so a lot of my tracks I'll write like, yeah, here, this is just all the recordings. This is a ton of recordings. And then here, yeah, you can see like these are all bass sounds in a group, but you can see here they're like, you know, there's a sample selector with a ton of these fucking sounds, and you can scroll through and select them, and then once you find them, yeah, these are all just like different cue points in the same track that have been processed or whatever. So this whole modular sound pack is designed to be reconfigured, right? And then you make like a little family.
That's one sound, one sample.
Yeah, it's just like a long sample.
And then you just change out
This,
the
yeah, this is the deflector shield module that's giving that like it's. But that's like a frequency shift.
Each one's just a separate sample though you recorded.
Yeah, so like here, this one. Right, see? So it's, but, you know, the sequencing, like, people are often hesitant to put this much modulation in their sound because they're making a patch.
Right.
Right? But you make a patch, everything just sounds a little bit static. Like, you're not, like, it's not, you know, it's all like, here's this note, here's this, that note. And, like, if you're working on something where it's, because you can do this with software, too. Like, if you just record yourself just fucking with everything, you know, MIDI map a bunch of knobs, move them around like crazy while you're recording, then you get these like long recordings of crazy shit that you can then use to make instruments like it's really easy to sequence up a beat like that because they're all kind of like in one tight thing, and like, you know, like, let's see what this is. Oh, that's not gonna do it. Let's see what this one does. So we could go like, so let's say we wanted to make a track, right? Let's see what our metronome is. Let's go to, yeah. Wait, it's weird. Record quantize went off. Strange. Edit. Record quantize. 16th note. Okay, I gotta go to my quantize settings. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put a crash. There you go. Like, let's say you wanted to make a melody out of this sound, right? I want a different note from that. Where is that note? Okay, so we go to this, and then go to here. Oh, where is pitch the other? And say show modulation, and then I can go up a semitone. Right? You can make little melodies even just inside. Right? Okay, so then get out of that. So it'd be like blah, and then let's make a call and answer. Let's make that one and copy there. I think there's like an extra kick somewhere there. Yeah. Alright, so that could be one section, and then like, let's say we want to change these guys. Make another drop like that, or you could go. Right, and then these could be like, you know, call and answer, two different sections. Right. But you can get like a lot of the track in that main kind of groove drum rack, and when it's all tight like that, it becomes really easy to sequence. You can go into the groove pool, like here, let's see, go into here, say, where's the groove pool? Browse groove library, yeah. So let's say swing. Say swing 16. Yeah, here, and then. Or you could try like an 8th note swing maybe, because it's faster.
Oh.
And you can swing the whole thing when it's like in one clip like that, right? So a lot of my
timing fucking gets fixed.
Yeah, I mean you could do it to the whole project too, but I find like a lot of my best tracks, I'll make like a really sick groove box, right? And you make your drop in the groove box, and then the rest of the track with like the melodic sections is broken out kind of like we did it. But making drops, man, like working inside the drum rack to make your drops, you get much droppier, more kind of like rhythmic,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
because it's, you know, the drop is essentially just a groove. You're not trying to make it like this big ornate melodic fucking thing.
Right.
It's like a groove, and then you might have some melodies come in and out. But the actual part you dance to is not like it's
a groove.
It's not the melody. It's a groove, right? So for groove sequencing, I'll typically use a drum rack.
It's fucking smart.
Yeah. So here I gotta hit the can quick, but you want to poke around and check out all the fucking stuff.
I can see how this would be way more powerful for making the drop.
Yeah, totally.
I've been doing it all wrong, man. I've been doing it fucking...
Well, it took me a while to learn how to do this, you know, like I would just make everything like one channel at a time and stuff, but this is essentially a 64 channel sequencer, right?
Exactly. With all the processing basically not 100% but almost there.
Yeah, and like you get most of the stuff. Plus, you can set up side chains and shit inside of here. But that's why this in the club there's a whole drum rack workshop. That's all like tricks. Like here, I'll show you. I'll open Chrome for a minute here. But yeah, so here I'll show you like inside the club site. There's a bunch of stuff that you should know about. But okay, so if you go to log in quick. Dupe. Okay, so if you go to here, this workshop, have you done this one yet? Methodology 3? Okay, so this one I start with a section about drum rack sequencing and just, you know, how, and then basically my track Paradise 1, I make it like entirely live in front of an audience in 3 sessions, you know, 3 2-hour sessions. And you can see like the whole track come together, and then there's a couple other little bite-sized sessions where I like give it the phase 3 at the end. But that you can see the whole track start to finish, and then also, you know, you can see a little bit about drum racks. But then this one,
that's it. That's
the drum rack workshop. That's all drum rack tricks. Okay, so definitely you need to check those 2 out, right? And then basically in the weekly download here, there's a few weekly downloads that you got to check out. But the infinite drum rack and that stuff is like the really important. The subs, the modular sound pack. I'll set that all up on your hard drive.
Appreciate that.
But then if you go into here, there's the 3 drum rack method, which is really important, and that's basically like the meat, potatoes, and spice, and
Right.
just like a little bit about sequencing with them. This layering drums one is nice, and then there's like there's a few other kind of fun things in there. But you definitely want to watch the 3 drum racks one. Yeah. So.
Do you have one more on creating just the samples for the drops for the bass sounds?
Sequencing? Yeah, I should do one on drop sequencing. There's a really cool. Okay, so Virtual Riot drop 10 minutes. Okay, so this is a really classic YouTube video where Virtual Riot tries to make a drop. Oh wait. Virtual Riot makes a drop in 10 minutes. So Virtual Riot is really dope, man. His name's Valentin. I actually just was hanging out with him last weekend. He's really, really good. But he's a great producer, and he basically, like, even though he's using Cubase, it still is very applicable to Ableton. But you see him put together a drop in, like, fucking 10 minutes. And it's really, like, here, I'll show you,
Let's
like...
play the end.
Yeah, I'll show you. Let's see.
Something like that. It's just going to be playing all the time, except for that part. It's going through the sidechain. Yeah, this patch would have needed some time. Delay. Also, what I could have done too is adding glitch to this at the right moment. That could have... Yeah, that's much better. I wanted to have this in there. Ah, that's too much. And this could have been...
But this approach he did doing the separate track method, right?
Yeah, he does do with the separate tracks. I'll do one for you with the drum racks, but there's this track that I did, this Opio remix I've been working on. Actually, I'll see if it's in here. Yeah, this one is where it is sequenced like a drum rack based drop. Yeah, because I wanted this track to have like a tempo change in it, where there's like a couple different versions of the main groove at different BPMs, you know? Because I just find tempo change tracks are just so useful in a live set, you know, to get from one genre to another. Because like if you're trying to do the tempo change where you're like ficka ficka pshh, you know, or whatever, it's like it's a little easy to fuck up. And then I don't like the slow BPM fader. I find it disruptive as a dancer. Like I like the tempo changes to be, you know, sequenced. So, yeah, so this track, oh Christ, more missing samples. How many samples? Oh,
Damn.
yeah, I really got to figure out how to get that hard drive plugged in. Because, I mean, I think if I unplug this, it's going to, yeah, it kills the live stream. You know what I'll do? I'm going to plug the hard drive in, load it, and then collect all and save, and then put the stream back on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for a while I was talking to Seth Drake about creating like the fucking ultimate laptop. Because I don't know what you guys were using to fucking do all this shit, right? I thought you guys had.
Yeah, you don't need the craziest computer.
You don't.
You're just turning things into audio all the time.
That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, Tipper wrote Surrounded before there were Intel Macs. And he wrote it on a laptop in a fucking RV driving around America. You know, I mean, he mixed it at a studio. But he wrote that whole Surrounded album on, like, just, like, a fucking normal-ass laptop. Like, it wasn't even 2 gigahertz, you know? And I don't think they even had multiple processors. You know? Like, that was forever ago. And, I mean, mind you, the software was not as, like, because... You know, the software used to be more lean, whereas, like, it's gotten very bloated. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now, see, I should do this every time. Okay, so now collect all. Okay, just blow me up. Sure. Oh, I think that's our delivery. Hello? Oh, excellent. Sick. That's our liquor delivery. Woohoo! Yeah, let's get wasted. Okay, cool. So here, so now, then I'll collect that and save. Great. This will hopefully work better. It's really annoying too. This hard drive has a USB-C port, but it doesn't work. It doesn't power. It's not enough power because it's a RAID. So I could put it in this extra USB port, but you know, that would be way too simple, wouldn't it? Okay. So there we go. Now let's see if it'll come up on the live stream. Oh, does it not like me anymore? Oh no. Yay! There we go, we're back. Hooray! Okay, so now we have samples and the live stream. Awesome! Okay, so this track is pretty much the style of sequencing that I was trying to show you there. Right? So check it out. So it's like, chords and a rhythmic melody. This is just another layer on the chords. Right, but you can see processor way down.
Yep.
Grooves nice and easy to manage. You know, I've been trying out different grooves on the on things, and really just, you know, getting most of it. Like, there's a couple extra little sounds that come in here, and then the breakdown, all these crazy shit is, you know, that's all like other sounds.
Right.
But you know, you can see here that here, this is where I was trying. This is like another version. these like these are just I was just trying out different rhythmic ideas,
Right,
etc.
right.
But having everything in this one nice thing is really, it's just a tidy way to sequence, and then.
And then again, when you're creating this monster sample library for your drum rack, you're tuning them to the key, or you're just tuning them as
Yeah,
you
usually
go?
I kind of tune them as I go.
Yeah.
It's really easy to just use the sample up
Yeah,
and down
just go
thing,
up.
put the tuner on. If
Right.
you're not sure if you're
Right.
using a field recording, you can just use the tuner.
Okay,
But yeah, you pretty much tune them as you go.
that makes sense.
And then, you know, you can either, like, if you want to have it be like that, you could do with two separate ones, or you can just automate the transpose like I showed you.
Right.
And then you can make, like, you know, simple melodies where, like, if you want to just do a quick transpose up and down, you know, like a semitone or up and down a fifth, it's easy enough to do, like, inside the modulation.
Right, just do it automated.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then and then push makes it really easy because you get all the parameters like on the screen. I
Yeah.
mean, the sample editing, it's nice to have that on the screen, but I mean, most of this is just like there's a picture of a knob or
Right.
not, and that's really the only difference between
And
push
that's
one.
controlled by these on the push too?
Yeah, same thing with the push one.
Okay.
You get all it'll populate your parameters, and you can control. So like you can load up
That's what they
128s because you're making 128s, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you can load up 128s or like go into the infinite drum rack or whatever, just hit one and go. So if you make one of these things with 128s, fuck.
You're set.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Because then,
That's what I'm gonna do, man. I'm just gonna go start making a shitload of these.
yeah, and if you
record
have
more
that
shit.
main groove machine is all like, you know, your kick has 128 kicks, your snares, it's really easy to be like, whoop, make totally new tune, you know, quite easy. And then most of like the drop would be sequenced in there, and then the melodies and stuff are all kind of separate. There's not really an easy way to do that inside of a drum rack, right? But as long as you make sure to like, you know, keep your chord progressions like a little bit more creative than just being on the drop or on the things all the time. And if you have like a loop of chords, like it's nice to have it kind of change.
Right.
You know, so
Between the
there's like a
verses
7th and an 8th chord, like have an 8 bar long chord progression or even a 16 bar long chord progression. It just sounds a bit more like something someone would play.
On a piano.
Yeah, and then keeping your melodies contrasting, and then just getting that folder of just like fucking crazy original, unique sounds, and using them like boldly. You know, that is gonna make the difference.
Make your sound.
Yeah. All right, word. Any questions, or you wanna? I think probably take a break.
Yeah,
Get some.
I think we're good, man.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So thanks for watching, everyone. And yeah, I'm really excited to see some of you tonight at the workshop. Tonight sold out, but the next one is going to be August 30th. So if you go to thebreakthroughworkshop.com, you can sign up for the August 30th workshop. I think there's still some spots left. So yeah, and then after that in September, I'm going to Europe, so I'm not going to be around. So there's, I think, a few spots on the one on the 30th. So if you want to come to the workshop, come to the one on the 30th. All right, lots of love, everybody. Big up to everybody who supports me in the Producer DJ Club and on Patreon. Love you guys. Peace out.